Well, welcome to Focus Today, and we are focusing on your yard and the problems you're having and the problems you don't want to have later on as the summer starts up, as we are with Tim Elbert from Four Seasons. Good to see you again. I don't know, I haven't actually talked to you on the air for a long time.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
I've heard all the stuff that you're talking about, but I know that, you know, this is a time of year that I think of moldy things happening. And Jerry earlier said he had a mold problem, and I thought he said mold. But
yes.
he has moles, so he's got a different kind of a problem, which we thought that's more like a Bill Murray problem with moles, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole different problem than mold is. So.
Well, you know, mold is easier to get rid of than moles.
Is it? I don't know. Some people have chronic mold problems too.
Yeah.
So.
There's when you're talking about in the landscape, you know, then mold is much easier to get rid of. If you're talking about black mold in the house or something like that, you're talking to the wrong guy.
That's a different thing. Yeah,
it's a whole different thing.
Well, we're going to be talking about all the stuff that's growing or should be growing perhaps now, because I'm noticing the yards are greening up. You know, and the leaves are still there, kind of preventing the sunlight from hitting them. So I'm talking about my yard, so I have to do something about that. But we want to get your calls also if you have some questions about something to start this time of year, or maybe you shouldn't start and you're thinking about doing it. You can call us at 776-5368. Of course, it's area code 541, and we'll let you talk to Tim Elbert, 776-5368. Are we now that we're past the middle of February, is this the beginning of what we would call the growing season now?
I would say yes, and I'd like to say that I have my finger on the pulse of spring.
Do you?
We are.
I'm glad you're here.
So we've been really paying very close attention this year because we started up our new Lawn Care Alert newsletter, which is a separate newsletter from our regular newsletter that comes in your email.
Yeah.
And so you have to sign up for it separately, but it will tell you when it's time to put down the fertilizer on your lawn and everything.
Cool.
We are taking it to the exact timing. So what we're doing is we're really watching closely to see when is that timing going to start. And so all the Dove listeners and viewers today get the heads up, because the email will be coming out today. But watching and seeing what's been going on, and yes, this is a perfect weekend to be putting that first application on the lawn. Okay,
before we get into that, let's talk about the email. How can they get that?
Well, you can sign up for it. I don't know if my web guy, Randy, if you're listening, if there's the sign up on the website yet or not. If not, just give us a call and ask to be signed up for that. Or when you stop in, you can always sign up for the, or send me an email. You can do that too. It's tim@fourseasonsnurseryonline.com. And that's all spelled out, F-O-U-R.
F-O-U-R, yes. Not just the number 4? Okay, correct. So Tim at Four Seasons Nursery.
Online.com. Nice long. We say long name, amazing results.
Okay. Well, good. All right. Well, we'll mention that a couple more times if you haven't gotten that. So that's good. So you were saying this is a transition zone into spring, and you were starting to say something else. I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, we have gone from the real cold December and the dry cold that we had, and then all of a sudden all this rain. And now, as I'm looking out and I'm seeing the buds begin to swell on the roses and other plants, and the lawn's starting to change a little bit, and I'm seeing that with those changes, that is a physiological change that's happening in the plants. So they are recognizing a change in the weather, and they're saying it's time to start growing. And so now is the time. We catch that right at that right perfect timing, then we're going to get the best use of the products that we put down. Okay, good. All right, let us know if you've got some questions about any of these kinds of things that, with a change of season that you need to know about. And somebody will win this primrose? Yeah,
is that
so
right?
We're going to give away this beautiful pot full of yellow primroses. All
right, excellent. 776-5368, that's the number you can call. Let's get to the phones right now, because Randy has called, and Gary has, that is. You got a question about treatment of red thread in the lawn. Tell us what the problem is.
Yes, thanks for taking the call. Seems like every year, maybe about this time, we have a problem with red thread, and we've got to Fertilome F-stop, and that works good and it arrests it and that kind of stuff. But the back of our mind, we're wondering if several years ago when we got some soil put into our yard and then planted the grass on top of that, of course, was the problem in the soil itself some that we got from the landscape guy that did the work, or is this something in the air, or is there a solution for this? Of course, like I say, F-stop stops it, but it seems like it comes back almost every year.
Yeah, red thread can be a tough one to get completely rid of. It doesn't come in the soil. It is an airborne disease, and if it will attack when the conditions are perfect for it, and that's when you're seeing it happen. It will attack lawns, certain types of lawns more than others. It could be that the type of seed that you got or the sod that you got is more susceptible to red thread than another type. That might be why you would get it and somebody else wouldn't. It's just hard to know for sure. It's kind of like saying, well, why would this child get a cold and this one not? You know, who knows? But anyways, getting rid of it, the F-stop definitely helps. You want to maintain that. The other thing is make sure that you are on a good feeding program that includes a good fall fertilizer application, because the stronger your lawn is, the better chances it has of fighting off that disease on its own.
Okay, great. Would it be a fruitless effort to just rip the whole thing out and start over?
I would say that's probably more than you need to do. I would suggest, well, bring me some photos first. Let's take a look and see how bad your infestation is, and then go from there. But in most cases, you should be able to get rid of it. Be proactive with it. You may even consider putting down the F-stop in the winter time for a good preventive, so that you don't end up with it in the spring.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think about the pre-emergent part.
Yeah.
Stuff. Okay.
Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes, thanks.
Gary will be added, of course, to the list of people who could be winning this great primrose. 776-5368. That's a number you can call right now, 776-5368. Tell me about red thread. What does it look like? And is it a fungus among us, or what is it?
It's a fungus.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of funny because fungal diseases are generally named after what they look like. So what does it look like? It looks like little red threads in the lawn. Now, a lot of misconceptions. People think that an overall reddish cast to the lawn might be considered red thread, and it's not. You actually would reach down, pick up some of that grass, and look at it closely and carefully, and you would see red threads growing out of your grass.
Oh, wow.
And that's red thread.
But F-stop, you say, will kill it for the season?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Usually one application early in the spring will take care of it if you've got it. You can use that as a preventive as late as November, and that'll help prevent it from coming early in the spring.
Now, getting back to mold, that sounds like a far easier thing to control than mold in a yard. Is it? A mold is kind of just difficult to deal with.
Yeah, well, mold is again a fungus, and so the control is the same, using a product like F-stop or a good fungicide to control that. But the thing with mold is that mold usually grows because there is a very wet condition. Now, we had all that snow, and there's a lawn disease called snow mold that looks like snow on your lawn, and it comes in a white or pink. They call it snow mold or pink snow mold, and so again, very simple. You get a little bit of drying weather, it'll actually go away on its own. But a good fungicide if it's not going away or if it's causing too much damage.
Okay. Again, the number to call to be a part of this and possibly win this great primrose. You always bring the healthiest looking ones that I've seen. That looks great. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
541 is the area code, 776-5368, 776-5368. Let me ask you about this time of year. What is it that most people you find overlook that they should be doing right now? Well,
I think we tend to want to wait really late to start working in the yards. It's always cold and stuff. So when it comes to actually getting out and roses are the big thing. people want to wait too late for the roses, and you know, I think that the earlier you get to that, the better. So when it comes to roses and lawns, I think those are the two things that we tend to push off. You know, if you haven't got your roses taken care of yet, really should get that done right away.
I feel good this year. Every other year, I've had to hang my head in shame because I haven't done what you said.
Yes.
We'll see what happens, but I do need to put some more fertilizer around there.
Oh, good.
A certain kind of a rose,
the rose
protein
formula,
or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, you know, there's the Dove rose formula.
I've heard it works well.
Yes, and fingers crossed. Today, hopefully, the Epsom salt will be in, and we will actually have that available in bulk. So the Epsom salt and the alfalfa meal, we will be pre-mixing and selling in bulk.
Oh, good.
So we will have that available today, hopefully. I'm just waiting for a truck, that's all.
So call ahead of time if people are expecting to
Yeah, if
get
not,
it.
we do have the packages separately, so you can come in and get those.
And is the idea you just put it over the top, or do you actually build a trough around it, kind of, and get it down in the
I'd like
soil
to
or
work
what?
it in a little
Okay.
bit, but you don't
not-
have to. It's
okay.
not that important. The main thing is, you know, if you don't want to do a lot of work, take a cup of the mixture, sprinkle it around, throw some water on it, and you're done.
Okay.
So.
I mean, it almost sounds so easy that it's too easy.
It's very easy. Yeah.
And the results of doing it as opposed to not doing it, how great are they?
Very great. Yes,
Really?
you will see a very large difference. Your roses will be bigger, the flowers will be brighter colored, your plants will grow faster. Yeah, very big difference.
Great. Well, we've got a couple calls waiting, so we're going to be finding out about peonies and to find out if they can survive the winter, if they have. We'll also be looking at verbena, I think. Yes, wondering if a verbena has died. How do you know? Tim will tell us. All coming up in just a few minutes. Join us for Focus Today. Tim Elbert and Four Seasons here on the Dove.
Hi, I'm Paulina and I work at the Dove TV. Did you know that when you support the Dove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today. Tim Elbert is our guest, of course, from Four Seasons Nursery, and we're talking about all sorts of things you should be doing, me too, this time of year to make sure that your yard and your plants look really great. And we're taking your calls at 776-5368, area code 541, of course, 776-5368. And on the line with us is Abby, and you have a question about whether your peonies survived. It looks like they may have, but maybe not?
Yes.
Well, what do they look like?
Dead.
Well, okay, we'll go to the next caller. I think your peonies are dead.
Oh, no.
No? Oh, okay.
Your peonies are fine. Don't listen to Steve. He knows nothing. No, the tops of your peonies are definitely dead, and so we cut them off at the ground level, unless it's a tree peony, of course, in which case you just trim off all the dead leaves. But the rest of the plant should still be alive, and you should begin very soon to see those new, what we call pips, popping up out of the ground. Those little buds that are sticking up above the roots there. And they'll be bright pink colored. And so if you start seeing some of those around, you can even kind of dig around a little bit. You'll probably see them sitting in there, and your peonies will come up and be beautiful this year.
Thank you.
Well,
You're welcome.
like I said, Abby, your peonies are just fine.
Yeah, good.
Don't worry about them. Thanks for
Good
calling.
to know. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. 776-5368, the number you can call to talk to Tim Elbert. Just like Mary has called, and you have a viburnum, I've understood, and you've got some questions about that.
Well, we don't only have that. We planted a hedge, and I think we also have oral, and they're all completely black, like they're dead.
Right. That was that cold weather we had in December that did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are they dead?
Well, on your laurels, probably not. Good chance that they've still survived. They may have died back a little bit. On your viburnums, they're probably not going to live through this. But here's the way you can tell. Get a sharp knife or a good pair of pruners, good sharp pair of pruners, and starting a few inches down the stem, take and scratch into that bark, into that cambium. And you'll begin to see that it's going to be brown or black inside there, and you'll see that that's dead. Work your way down, continue going down the plant until you find green or white. And if you're seeing green and white, then that's alive. So then you can figure out from that point, if it's halfway down, then I need to prune it in half. It's as far as if you get all the way down to the bottom, it's dead all the way down, and then just have to yank them out. So
okay, is there anything that we could give it, like any plant food or anything?
Not yet. Not yet. I caution people with that because we really don't want to push them too quickly. And in fact, the pruning, I'm still a little nervous yet to do much pruning, maybe for a couple more weeks. I like to start doing that kind of cleanup in March because all of that dead foliage is protecting all of the other stuff underneath it from anything cold that we might have. So, I'm still a little nervous yet to be doing any heavy pruning. I still have dead bushes all over my yard. My wife says it's because I'm lazy, but no, it's not really that. I am lazy, but that's not the reason why my bushes are still dead out there. But give it a little bit more time, and then check that cambium, see where you're at with that, and then begin to prune.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. And of course, Mary will be added to the list of those people who might be able to get this terrific primrose that we have in front of us today. 776-5368, the number you can call to be on the air. V is on the line with us, and you've got a pear tree that has some problems. What are the problems?
Yes, usually I get about a dozen pears a season off of the big tree. And last season, I only got like 3. And I've had it for 10 years, and I've never done anything to it except water it because I don't know how to do anything to it. But apparently I need to.
A 10-year-old pear tree should be producing bushels of pears. So if you're only getting a dozen at best and 3 or 4 at worst, there's a problem there. Do you have any other pear trees around you?
Yes, but I bought the house 11 years ago, so I don't know how old they are. The one on the side of the house is obviously much younger, I guess, because it's very much smaller. Mm-hmm. And I usually get 5 or 6 off there. I think we got like 6 or 7 this year because we got more than off the big tree. Mm-hmm. And I don't water that one hardly at all because the hose doesn't reach, so it's really hard to get to that one.
Yeah. Then there's something else going on there. You may need to do some pruning. It could be that all that energy is going into producing branches and foliage and that kind of a thing. So by reducing that down a bit, you can allow it to put more energy into producing fruit. So that would be one thing. And if you need some help with that, bring us some photos of your trees, and we'll help you with that and showing you how to prune those the best way.
Oh, yes, because I have no idea where to cut it or anything, and I don't want to kill it or ruin it.
Sure. Yeah, you can always just bring us some photos. If you print them out, then we can just draw right on your pictures for you. It helps you out a lot when you get home.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So I would say prune it more than feed it. As far as that goes, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I say for trees, if they are less than 10 years old, less than 5 years old, definitely feed them. 5 to 10 years old, if they're fruit producing, continue to feed. After 10 years old, they should be getting enough nutrient on their own. So you shouldn't have to worry too much about that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, V. Appreciate it. 776-5368, the number you can call to be a part of the show with Tim Elbert today. We've got a lot of pear trees around here. This is that kind of an area. Right. Is there any kind of problem you have seen that could cause some sort of a virus among pear trees or anything like that?
There are lots of different kinds of things that affect pears, and we have to be really careful, especially because there's orchards in the area. We've got to be careful to take good care of our pear trees so that we don't cause problems with the pear orchards.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people who have fruit trees and they don't take care of them, if they're close to orchards, they are helping spread these diseases and problems to the pear orchards. So you really want to be careful and take good care of your fruit trees. As far as what she's talking about, when a low amount of production really can be caused by either the trees not producing flowers, and that's because it's just producing way too much foliage and needs to be pruned heavily, or those flowers aren't getting pollinated, and those, if you're not getting good pollination from one tree to another, that can cause a lot of problems. And then also frost damage. If we get some late frosts that kill off some of those blooms, excuse me, that can result as well in low production. So,
that's why those pictures will help maybe give a better idea.
Yeah, that'll give us a better idea as to what kind of pruning needs to be done and et cetera.
Okay, 776-5368, the number you can call to talk to Tim Elbert from Four Seasons Nursery. And Jamie has done that, and Jerry said he has a problem with moles. You have a problem with moles and your palm trees, is that right?
Yeah, not together, but the moles have kind of taken over. Like, we have about a third of an acre, so they're in front, they're in back, they're in the beds, they're everywhere, or else there's one that's really busy. I don't know how they work, but and then we had some major damage with the cold with our palm trees, who have been pretty healthy. So not sure what to do with that to try to for us to try to save them. If we cut off the dead stuff, if there's a product we could put on to try to save them.
Sure. Well, let's address the palm trees first. Palm trees in the valley everywhere have suffered severely from that weather that we had. In most situations that I have seen, I don't think that they have died. And we won't know that for sure for quite a while yet. But the thing to do with those is to go through and cut off all of the fronds. And, I've had a few people say, well, I still have some green fronds. Well, if they are more than halfway still green, you could leave those, but eventually you're going to have to cut those off. But you could leave them, but if it's more than halfway dead, cut the entire leaf off. It's not going to do any good. So trimming off all of that, and then except for those new leaves that are coming up from the center of the trunk, and you want to leave those, if they're unfolded leaves, leave those on still, because they're protecting that crown of the trunk. And then mix up a good fungicide, like the Fertilome liquid systemic fungicide. Mix up a quart or so of that and pour that right down the center of that trunk. The big problem that we have is if moisture gets down inside that trunk and sits in there, and you've got dead material there, it begins to rot, and then that rots out that crown. And if that crown rots out, your tree is dead. So get that fungicide down in there, and you should have pretty good success.
Great.
All right. Wow. Now, as far as the moles go, there's a lot of different products on the market for mole and gopher control. The problem is that when it comes to moles and gophers, they're very territorial, and they don't want to leave an area that has food. And so that's why they're so tenacious. And if you kill one, another one just moves into the area. So I'm a big proponent of using things that deter them. We carry a product called Molgo. It's also put out by Fertilome. It comes in a granule or a liquid, and you can put that down. That helps deter them and get them out, and I use that a lot in my yard. But then there's also traps and gopher gassers. And,
yeah, those aren't working.
Yeah. So I think you'll find pretty good success with the Molgo. It's a castor bean oil product, and it makes them sick. It doesn't kill them, but it does make them sick. They don't like it, and as they're tunneling through, they get a taste of it, and they go, I got to get out of here. So they move to your neighbor's house.
Yeah, I think they're all over. So can we get that at Four Seasons?
You certainly can.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jamie, thank you very much. Well, we did have a mole question. Now, we can let Jerry know about that, too. Mole
That's
go.
right, yes.
And make it not your problem, but your neighbor's.
Yes, right.
We're going to be talking to Lucy after the break. She's got a problem with maple trees and bark problems. It has nothing to do with dogs, but it has to do with their maple tree. So that'll be coming up. You can call in also 776-5368 and be a part of the show. Focus Today with Tim Elbert. We'll be back in about 2 minutes here on the Dove.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
All right, welcome back to Focus Today, where Tim Elbert is with us from Four Seasons Nursery, talking about all the things you should be doing this time of year. We haven't talked about the things you shouldn't do. Maybe we should head into that, too. And some of the questions that some of our listeners and viewers have about stuff they should be doing with their garden. And let me give you the number you can call, 776-5368. Be a part of the show today. We've got this wonderful primrose that we'll be giving away randomly to the people who call in. Names in the hat, pick out the name. It's real scientific, and it works. So somebody will be getting that. Let's talk to Lucy right now. Lucy, thanks for calling. You've got a problem with some of the bark on your maple tree. What's going on there? What are you seeing?
Good morning. Yes, my maple tree, the bark on it has split, and it has an opening, and the tree trunk looks like it's starting to crack. And I wanted to know what I can do to prevent it from going any further than it is right now.
Is that crack going up and down the trunk of the tree?
Yes.
And is there any wetness there?
No, it's dry.
It's dry. Any powdery material?
No.
And is the cracking, is it up in the tree or is it down close to the base of the tree?
It's closer to the middle.
Okay. Not good news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. There is a disease that gets maple trees called Pseudomonas. And there's a lot of diseases that start with Pseudomonas, but Pseudomonas syringae, if you really want to know. But anyways, this disease can affect the maples. It travels up through the vascular tissue of the plant, the xylem, the phloem, the whatever, in that cambium, and it destroys it. Once it gets in the tree, there is no cure. So chances are you're going to lose that tree. The other bad news is that it can affect the soil. It stays in any roots that are left behind when you remove the tree. It can stay in that soil and affect another tree if you put another tree back in there. So you have to choose a tree that is going to be resistant to that disease.
And what kind of tree is that?
Well, it would have to be something other than a maple, of course. But you could choose, depending on your situation, something like a flowering pear or maybe an ash or something like that. You'd want to be completely away from a maple of any kind.
Okay. And will it affect, I have another maple tree on the opposite side of the driveway. Would it affect that one too?
If the roots end up intertwining, yes. If it can also be airborne, so not a good situation. Before you tear your tree out, though, bring us some photos to let us so we can make sure that that's exactly what's going on. Okay. But that's what it really sounds to me like, and we don't want you to tear down the tree if I'm wrong. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All righty.
All right, Lucy, thank you very much. Of course, she'll be in the drawing for this great primrose, as you can be if you call us, and you're on the air with us at 776-5368. That's the number, 776-5368. Jan's on the line with us, and you got a question about the type of peas to plant right now. Sounds like you want to get ahead on your vegetable garden, huh?
Yes, somebody said that it's not time for snow peas, but it's okay for snap peas. And some people say it's okay for all peas, and some people say greenhouse only. Some people say it's okay to plant them in the ground now. And what type of snap pea should I get? Because there's a lot of different kinds. What's the good kind?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, you're right, there are a lot of different kinds of peas, and I don't think I've tried them all, so I couldn't tell you which one's best. But, you know, I know like the Oregon Sugar Pod does really well here, and there's a Sugar Snap, if you like the snap peas, and there's different types of shelling peas and whatnot. But when it comes to peas, you can plant all of them now, and you can plant them directly in the ground as long as you've got, you know, well-drained, loose soil. If your garden is in an area that, you know, heavy rain is going to cause it to stay wet for a long period of time, you may want to rethink that. So, but in most situations, you know, raised beds or nice fluffy soil, you can direct seed that your peas right in there, any variety you want.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jen. And it's a good time to be planting. No problem this time.
When it comes to the peas, and the thing with peas is that they have the ability to know when it's time to push growth, and they'll begin to grow regardless of late frosts and things like that. And they're pretty hardy plants. And they will become acclimated to that, and they will grow when they want to, and stop when it gets cold, and then grow again. So you can get that nice early start with them by getting them in early.
Yeah, cool. All right, be a part of the show, and you might be able to win this primrose as well. 776-5368, the number you can call. Area code 541-776-5368. I know that you're wanting to stay on the edge of horticultural news and all the rest, and you go up to the Portland show every now and then. Do you go every year? Have you gone every year? There was one year you missed, wasn't there?
Yeah, actually, I think I missed the last couple.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, it's something you're the kind of person I'd like to go up there so you could tell me what I'm looking at, really. But that's a pretty amazing show, isn't it, up there?
Portland does a fabulous job with what they call their yard garden patio show. And yes, they do a tremendous job with that. So.
Isn't that in February or not?
I believe it is. I'll have to look at that and see. So
apparently, you're not going this year.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'm actually thinking, I think I might even be going on this week.
Oh wow, okay. Well, let me ask you this: as far as the types of things, I mean, I know that there's innovations in every industry.
Right.
Is there new horticultural stuff that we should know about that's coming about? I'm not thinking necessarily new chemicals, but new strains or variations
all the time.
Of plants. Really,
all the time. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have our seminar series just about every Saturday. We have a little seminar, and they're free. You can come at 10 o'clock a.m. almost every Saturday.
I was at one of yours a while ago on roses.
Yeah?
So, yeah,
okay.
It was good.
Well, this coming week, let's see, we are doing one on seed starting. So tomorrow is seed starting, and you can sign up for that and learn how to start your own seeds. But next week, a week from Saturday, we are doing one on some new plant introductions. And there will be, this is all through a company called Fisher Farms, and they're up out of the Portland area. And they are, hopefully, we've got it all planned out. We will have an abundance of all the plant material that is all brand new plant introductions from them this year, and we'll be going through a slide presentation showing what they are and how to use them in the yard. Included in that are some really cool column-shaped apple trees. Now, the column-shaped apple trees have been out for a while, but if you plant them in the ground and let them grow, they actually get quite large, and they don't stay as small as what they say they do. These are some new strains that are much more columnar and much easier to maintain. So there's 3 different varieties of those. There's a lot of great things. Some things that are coming in with new colors, other things that are more dwarfed. We have a spruce, a little ball-shaped spruce that has red cones. So when the female cones come on, they are burgundy red, and against that blue-green foliage, it is stunning. So yeah, so that's another really neat one.
Let me ask you again. You said it was a column, what again?
Apple tree.
Apple tree. So does it? How does that work?
The apples produce in spurs all along the trunk.
Oh,
so you have
wow.
all these apples all along the trunk and really no branching structure whatsoever.
So you don't have the top tree part necessarily?
No, the tree grows like just straight up.
Yeah.
So there's
But it has a head with branches, doesn't it? No,
just
really?
a straight column.
Wow.
It's just a trunk, and then it'll get a few branches that'll kind of branch and go straight up. And but in reality, just prune those off.
Well, I'm thinking for landscaping, that's got to be something amazing.
And also for container gardens, you don't have a lot of room to plant fruit trees. Put some in some nice big pots and set them on the patio. They're pretty. They look nice. They have good fall color, nice bright white flowers in the spring, and fruit.
That's wow.
So,
I want to see what that looks like. That sounds fascinating. And that'll be you'll be talking about that a week from this Saturday.
Yes, a week from Saturday.
As long as
so
as
if you're thinking about it and you want to sign up, give us a call down at the nursery. It's 541-779-5603, and just ask to be signed up for the class on seed starting, and then we've got our new plant introductions. And then after that, we'll be on berries, which we've got some brand new varieties of berries and some really cool stuff.
Okay. Let's get another call in before our break coming up. Janice is online with us. You got a question about landscaping? Is that right?
I do, Tim. My question is, I just moved to a different house, and it's like a sloping front yard, and it has an existing sprinkler system in ground that's not real functioning, and it's grass there now, but it's really on a slope, and so I'm thinking about doing landscaping with shrubs and bark and rocks. Sure. Okay, so would I need that sprinkling system, or would I do a drip system?
I would suggest switching over to a drip system.
Okay.
Now, one thing you can do is revamp your old sprinkler system into a drip system.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you can just take off the sprinkler heads and add little connectors in there, pressure regulators, and etc., and then move into your drip tubing, and then bring that around. And we can show you exactly how that's done.
Okay, and so if there's one, like, say, that's not going to be any plants at all, would I just take and put a screw, something in that?
Yeah, just put a cap on it.
Cap on it, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Okay, I'll see you later on. Okay,
great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Janice.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Hey, you can be a part of the discussion. 776-5368 is the number. Area code 541-776-5368 with Tim Elbert, as we are talking about all sorts of things that you need to know about for sure. So we're going to be taking your calls, and then you'll be able to possibly win this wonderful little primrose. We'll put your name in a hat, and that'll be given away. We've already got quite a few names to choose from, but we'd like to add yours as well if you got a question or a comment. 776-5368, and we'll be back with Tim in 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Well, we are learning a whole lot of stuff today. I'll tell you, this is a time of year when things start growing, you may have noticed, and moles start digging. And we've had those questions too. Tim Elbert is here with us with Four Seasons Nursery, taking your calls as we are finding out just what the problems are that you are facing, and the solutions as well. And you get a chance to possibly win this wonderful little primrose here. We're going to take all the people's names who have called in, and we'd like to have yours added to that. You might be able to win this. It's 776-5368. That's the number you can call. Area code 541-776-5368. And we have Paula, who is on the line with us, with a question about primroses this time of year. What's your question?
Hi, yes. With possible more freezes still facing us, is it okay to plant both primroses and peonies now, or should I wait?
Yes and yes. Peonies, of course, as long as they're still dormant, they're fine, and they will grow according to whatever they think they can do. So you plant them, even if they're growing and we're getting some frost, they'll stop when it gets really cold, and they'll just kind of sit there, and then when it warms back up, they'll start growing again. When it comes to primroses, yes, most primroses you can plant now. I caution you on that a little bit, in that some growers grow their primroses in warm greenhouses. And when they do that, if you take them outside and you put them in a cold area, that'll shock them. They'll die down, and then it'll take them a long time to look good again, although they typically won't die. So be sure that you're getting primroses that are grown cold. Now, of course, Four Seasons Nursery always grows their primroses cold, but it doesn't matter where you're getting them. But the primroses, definitely will do good. If we get a heavy rain or some snow, it can damage the flowers for sure, but they'll just pop right back up and continue to bloom.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks very much for calling. 776-5368, the number you can call to be a part of the discussion. As we look to the next phase, okay, we're kind of in this, and she brought up a very good point about the idea of possibly more freezes. We're seeing more warmer temperatures. We could get some freezes?
Absolutely. We're still in freeze danger clear through March, and frost danger clear through April. So, and I remember one year in May, not too long ago, when we had 22 degrees. So yes, we can really get down there and still freeze, etc. So a lot of this early gardening, you just have to pay attention and watch that weather. And if it looks like we're going to get cold and you've got some tender plants, move them in or cover them. But definitely there's a lot of things you can start early now.
Okay, with that, the factors that you mentioned where we could have a freeze and all the rest, is there a good plant, a tree, whatever it might be, a bush, a shrub, anything, it could be vegetables. We've had questions about that are good to get started now to get a jump perhaps on the season? Or is it still too early for some of that?
Well, if you're thinking about vegetables and flowers, you can get a start. If you like to grow from seed, you can get a start on that now. As far as already pre-started things, stay away from that right now.
What about like tulip bulbs, for example? Is this a time they like cold weather, don't they?
They do, but now see, your tulip bulbs should have been planted in the fall.
Oh, okay.
So
it's too late then.
Yeah, it's late. Yeah, tulips, daffodils, all those spring flowering bulbs should have been planted in the fall. Now your summer flowering bulbs you begin to plant those in March.
So still a little early.
A little bit early for that.
Okay. Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
776-5368, the number you can call for the next few minutes that we have where we're on the air, like Carrie, who has done that. You're having some problems with some certain kinds of squash you're growing, right? Hello, Carrie?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Carrie, hi. You're trying to grow squash. You got problems, huh?
Yes. The squash starts off really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful plant. The fruit starts to come on. And I make sure that the fruit is up off the ground, that the water doesn't touch it, and it'll get halfway to fruition, and it just starts rotting away.
That is a pollination issue, and they're not getting pollinated well, and the plant begins to produce. Now, squash plants produce both male and female flowers separately. So one flower will have the male parts with the pollen, and then the other flower will have the female parts, and that pollen needs to get from the male flower to the female flower. And usually we rely on bees to do that. And of course that doesn't always happen. And so the plant has a certain amount of time for that flower to develop, and then it begins to produce the fruit. And as that fruit begins to develop, if it recognizes that the seed is not viable, then it's going to stop production on that, and it's going to begin to rot off. So that's what you're seeing, is it's beginning to produce, and then the plant says, hey, this isn't going to give me any babies, so I'm going to get rid of this. And then it starts another cycle and begins to do that again. You can go out there with a Q-tip and find your male flowers and dab that pollen and then move it over to the female flowers. And as long as you make little buzzing noises, Your plants will be okay with that. but yeah, that's the main thing. It just needs a little bit better pollination.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate it. 776-5368, the number you can call to talk to Tim Elbert, just like Robin, who has done that. And you've got some veggies that you want to do something with. What do you want to do with your vegetables, Robin?
Well, we've had our Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and things, and they stay through the winter, and then we get new plants on them each spring and summer. But we're not getting like the big heads, we're only getting little tiny nuts all over them. And we're wondering if we should prune these all the way back in order to get the big heads that we got the first year.
If you're looking at a plant that is already produced and is producing a second time, yeah, that you will always have smaller production the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's normal. You're not going to get them to reproduce those big giant heads. You'd have to start all over again.
Oh, okay. So I can keep my second and third years as ornamental and buy new ones for bigger ones.
Or harvest the small pieces. That's always fine. If you're getting them to last 2 and 3 years, you're doing pretty good. I can't get mine to last more than a year. Usually they bolt and then they look terrible and they don't produce well.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, my broccoli gets big. They're huge and fluffy, and my son walks by and he eats the heads off them.
Yeah.
So.
Once they bolt, they're really not worth keeping. You just cut them down and compost them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 776-5368, the number you can call. We've got quite a few calls here to come through at the very end, so that's good. Lisa's on the line with us. And you've got a question about some fertilizing. What question do you have for Tim?
Yes, I have some flower beds that have roses and bulbs, tulips, crocus, things like that in it. And I know about the Epsom salt and the alfalfa meal, but if I put like steer manure and work just a little bit in, would that be okay? Would that not be good? Would that be good or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can put that down. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll only help.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I just didn't know with the different plants what would be the best to do. So.
Oh yeah, and the alfalfa meal and Epsom salt combination is fine for your bulbs too. So if you get it around your bulbs, it's not going to hurt them. It is going to feed them and they'll grow well. So you can use that. Just be careful with your manure that you don't go too thick with it because you don't want that to rot out your crowns of your roses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And now could I put that around, I've got azaleas and camellias. Would that work there, or are they better with a different thing?
I don't suggest doing a whole lot of mulching around your azaleas and rhodies because they have very shallow root systems and they like to be up high. And so by covering those root systems, we can cause some damage. So be really careful with mulching around those. Use an acid fertilizer on those, whether it's organic or conventional, either way, but use one that's specifically for those.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it very much. We don't have enough time to put Susan on the air, but she has a question of how to get rid of ground squirrels. It's not the same way as moles, is it?
What would you say? It's very difficult. Those are way harder because they go in the ground as well as out of the ground. So, I don't have a really good answer for that. Some of the sonic devices work pretty good.
Oh, okay.
That sound.
Sure.
Those seem to work fairly well.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then you might try that.
All right, good. Thank you all for calling so very much. And now we are going to find out who will be able to get this great primrose. Tim is not looking. I can testify to that. And he pulls out the name of?
Carrie.
All right, Carrie.
Yes.
Good job. We'll get in touch with you and get you this primrose. 10 o'clock tomorrow, you're having the seminar?
The seed starting seminar, 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Starting.
Be sure to call and make a reservation for that. 779-5603.
And then the week after that?
That's the new plant introductions.
Okay.
And then after that is berries.
And then
berries and grapes.
Call Tim to get on that special email listing as well. So that'll be good. All right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for being part of Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I work at theDove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. and you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, theDove.us.